Coming up here from voters as folks cast their ballots ahead of Election Day.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. Kentuckians have begun to cast their ballots and make their voices heard in this year's election. Early voting started strongly across the state with reports of long lines in some bigger cities especially. Jeremy Toms talked with early voters about their experiences.
On this Halloween day, some voters came to the polls in costume. Others who came later braved some spooky weather. But a common experience was that Lexington voters faced long lines.
I think our country needs a change, so that's why I'm here.
Wait times were consistently over an hour at the public library in Beaumont. Yet early voters I spoke with there saw that as a positive.
It's the opportunity that they value, and so it's worth it to them.
I have more flexibility, but lots of people don't, and giving them the option to be able to participate in voting, I'm very much in favor of.
Candidates like Democrat Adam Moore got caught up in these lines right alongside their constituents.
So I voted here at the same library in the primary. I think I was the only person in here at the time when I was voting, and now you have hundreds of people in lines.
His opponent for the 45th House District seat, Republican Thomas Jefferson, tells me he saw the line today and turned around. But he plans to go tomorrow and encourages all who are able to vote early. The lines didn't dwindle any as the day wore on here at Beaumont. I watched people continue to file in right until that 4:30 p.m. cutoff time. But election officials want you to take advantage still of Friday and Saturday, noting that wait times on Tuesday could be even longer.
You might have to wait an hour or two at a local library, but if you wait until Election Day, it could be 3 or 4 hours.
The wait was still too much for some.
There was a fellow right in front of us, and he waited the more than an hour part, and then he bailed.
But others say it's a privilege that every American should take part in.
I'm one of those people, if you don't vote, you don't get to complain. Not to me. It's important.
In Lexington, Jeremy Toms, WKYT.
Fortunately, the lines are a little smaller for most of us here in eastern Kentucky. The polls reopen here in Kentucky tomorrow morning. Just remember to bring your photo ID with you to cast your ballot. Voters can participate in early voting as long as they're registered to vote. Locations and times vary per county, but each county shares one thing: the crowds seem to be larger this year.
Early voting's gotten really popular. You didn't want to stand in lines, but look at
But look at the lines. I thought, well, if I get here at 9 o'clock, I'll get here and beat all the rush, but looks like the rush has beat me.
And that was in London earlier today. Also some lines there. For times and locations for early voting in your county, you can head to govote.ky.gov. Now, in Laurel County today as well, Clerk Tony Brown responded to concerns over a viral TikTok video. The video claimed a voting machine incorrectly recorded a vote. Brown said the device, seen here in a video the clerk posted, was tested by the Attorney General's office. While the issue was briefly recreated by touching between candidate boxes, no further problems were found. He assured voters that the machine allows for a thorough review of choices before final submission. Governor Andy Beshear and First Lady Brittany Beshear took part in the first day of no excuse early voting. They cast their ballots this morning in Frankfort.
Well, my message is get out and vote. Regardless of who you're going to vote for, this is the bedrock of our democracy. We need everybody participating. And it looks like we're seeing long lines this morning, which is a good thing. So we want as much participation as possible. So please, everybody get out there, be a part of our great democracy, and vote.
And while Governor Beshear says he's grateful to have 3 days to vote early, he hopes to see an entire week of no excuse early voting in the future. Former President Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris are making their last pitch to voters in the West. CBS's Christian Benavidez is in Alpharetta, Georgia, a state where early voting is now wrapping up after a large turnout.
The presidential candidates headed west to make their final campaign pushes ahead of Tuesday's election. Former President Donald Trump rallied near Las Vegas Thursday night.
We're going to have America that's bigger, better, bolder, richer, safer, and stronger than ever before.
In Phoenix, Arizona,
Are we ready to win?
Vice President Kamala Harris called out remarks Trump made last night in Wisconsin about women.
I'm going to do it whether the women like it or not. I'm going to protect them. I'm going to protect them from migrants coming in. I'm going to protect them from foreign countries that want to hit us with missiles and lots of other things.
He simply does not respect the freedom of women or the intelligence of women to know what's in their own best interest and make decisions accordingly. But we trust women.
Vice President Harris narrowly trails former President Trump in Arizona, where she's been hammered on immigration and inflation. With Election Day looming, more than 63 million Americans have voted, either in person or by mail. Georgia's Secretary of State says at least 3.6 million residents, or half of active voters in the state, have already cast their ballots in early voting, which ends on Friday.
Georgia voters are smashing through every voting record.
Georgia went to President Biden in 2020 by fewer than 12,000 votes. Cristian Benavides, CBS News, Alpharetta, Georgia.
Former President Trump has sued CBS News for $10 billion, saying the network's editing of a recent 60 Minutes interview with Vice President Harris misled the public. The network responded, saying Trump's claims are false and the interview was not doctored. Governor Andy Beshear says he believes it is time to abolish the Electoral College system. He says the system means 7 states determine the outcome of the presidential race. 5 times in history has the winner of the popular vote lost the election in the Electoral College. Senate President Robert Stivers called the Electoral College a vital pillar of our republic and said Governor Beshear's proposal is a, quote, disrespectful affront to every Kentuckian who values their right to be heard. Services begin tomorrow afternoon for State Senator Johnny Turner. Turner died last week at the age of 76. The visitation is from 4 until 7 p.m. tomorrow at the Harlan County High School Auditorium. A funeral mass is set for Saturday at 11 a.m. at the Holy Trinity Catholic Church in Harlan. His burial will follow at Rest Haven Cemetery in the Keith community.
We're having that front move in, and with that, we're having that chance of rain and also the drop in temperature. Taking a look at the past 24 hours, you can see the temperature as we move more to our westerly counties is colder than this time yesterday, whereas on the other side of the front, we're seeing that it's warmer than this time yesterday. This will all change as that front continues to move past through our area. We're seeing our temperatures drop ever so slightly. But let's look at those current temperatures right now. Across the board, we're seeing differences before and after the front. On that more westerly side, we're seeing those 60s, and as you're traveling more to the east, you're seeing the 70s, a little bit cooler as you're in those Virginia counties. And here is where that rain is right now. It's going to continue to push through us the next couple of hours, and will continue to cool down into our overnight lows tonight. Really seeing the 50 range, with some places even potentially hitting that 60-degree mark. Harlan and Prestonsburg, as well as Jacksboro, are some of those cities seeing that 60-degree mark. Steve?
All right, thank you very much. Well, hopefully tonight's rain will help the forest fire situation. One fire broke out yesterday in the Brookside community of Harlan County. It covered about 10 acres. Crews contained it, but we're still at the scene today. Firefighters gave us a tip to keep your home safe during fire season.
Around this time of year, when the leaves start blowing in around your house and around your property lines and stuff, if you could, you can go around and you can make you just like if you got a leaf blower, you can blow a path away from your house.
The fall forest fire season continues until December 15th. State police are investigating after a woman's body was found in Harlan County. It happened on US 421 and 72 next to Catrins Creek. The identity of the woman has not been released, and the cause of death is not known at this time. The body has been taken to Frankfort for an autopsy. The Kentucky Solicitor General is fighting to uphold the death sentence in a nearly 40-year-old Letcher County murder case. Benny Lee Hodge was convicted of killing 23-year-old Tammy Acker and attacking her father in 1985. 18 judges of the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Sixth Circuit met Wednesday to hear arguments on Hodges' latest attempt to overturn his conviction. Attorney General Russell Coleman says it's critical the jury's verdict be upheld. 2 people are facing charges after police in Laurel County found a large quantity of fentanyl during a raid. London PD's Special Investigation Unit seized the fentanyl as well as other contraband after they served a search warrant at a home. Brian and Jonathan Hubbard, both of London, were arrested. They were taken to the Laurel County Correctional Center. 1 year ago tonight, we began to cover a deadly building collapse in Martin County. 2 men from Pike County were killed. Billy Ray, Bo Daniels, and Alvin Neese were doing contract work preparing for a demolition project at an idled coal processing plant when the 11-story building collapsed. It would be days before both bodies could be removed from the rubble. For the first time, a pig in the United States has been diagnosed with the H5N1 bird flu, sparking new concerns. Federal officials say it was detected in a pig at a backyard farm in Oregon, where poultry tested positive for the virus last week. CBS News medical contributor Celine Gounder says it's concerning because pigs, or swine, are thought of as mixing vessels between human, bird, and swine flu.
And what happens is when you have recombination of genetic material between these, you get these Frankenstein recombinations. These are the viruses that have the danger of becoming pandemic flu.
The CDC says the risk to the general public from bird flu remains low. Nearly 40 cases of H5N1 have been reported in people so far this year in 6 states. All but 1 had been in contact with infected animals.